Recently, we were in Hollywood, Florida, right?
Racist? Yeah.
We were in
Wait,
Hollywood,
no,
Florida. No,
Hialeah.
that's where we were with the fencers.
Yep.
All right.
Hialeah. I think.
No,
That's
it
where
was.
How far were we from
It was
the
in
mangoes
Miami.
or whatever, the avocado?
I don't know.
Because that was Hialeah, right? We was driving through and we were like, this is...
So there's this group of fencers.
We are the Meyer Frayfechter Guild.
The German tradition that is developed on fighting techniques from the 1570s used to fight the Moors. The clubs attached to a guild, they have a very old tradition. They learn out of a manual from 1570. They have a deep tradition that talks about how the master gave all that he had. They meet in a cool park that has water skiing, you know, boats going around ramps like some cities have skateboard parks. The master, Joachim Meyer, gave everything that he had in his life towards keeping this tradition alive. And when he died penniless, and that the fighting techniques were so important to a small group of people, even to Joachim Meyer's widow, that she married his top disciple to keep the tradition going. What's now called the Hema tradition, a European martial art. We had to get whacked. The Sinai sword. This is solid oak.
That's heavy, man.
This is a boakin. Feel different?
Yeah.
It was nothing. This is nothing. You can take this all day long. You don't be afraid.
Taken like a champion. One thing that I learned is that I can take a hit with a weapon, you know, with my helmet on. My neck can take it, my body can take it, and I know what it feels like. They are swords, and they use axes and they use daggers, and they punch each other in the face.
Boys, go.
We had no idea what we were getting into when we went to meet with the Meyer Frayfechter fencers. We fast learned that they are on something very different than our intentions in our program for presenting fencing. But it was important to meet with them because they have this tradition of fencing that is alive in America, it's alive in Europe, and it's important to fencing. Though they fight with various blades, two-handed, one-handed, various thicknesses, and they fight with the axes, and even though part of what they do is punching each other in the face, they call all of it fencing. When we first pulled up and you saw the weapons that were in the back of Victor's car, what did you think?
For one, I thought, yeah, I'm not sparring with these dudes. I'm not doing that. Y'all are crazy.
Don't say that word.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you. That was cleaner than mine.
It'll go beep.
Yeah. Rectified. All good. When I saw the trunk, though, I'm like, man, I'm not going at it with these dudes. They're hitting each other with this.
Right.
But then they showed proper armor, like head to toe.
But what about the sword going through the one dude's
Went in, scraped the ribs, and came out the back.
ribs
Oh,
and
my
coming out the
God.
back?
I saw it, man, when he said it.
Yeah.
So
So the weapons aren't sharpened to a point, but with force and technique, the blades can still slip through those crevices of the armor, the straps, whatever, and go through a human body. This is the level that these Meyer Frayfechter fencers are on. Yeah, they're badasses.
Boys, wow.
So I'm following this group of fencers here who have a manual from the 1570s about a German method of fighting, of how they fought against the Moors. And we are going to watch them and see what we can learn from them. And it's a beautiful day out here.
It's the Lonnie Show.
Check it out. Tradition is be sure to hit like this. Tastes good. Tastes real good. Mexico. It's the Lonnie Show. Check it out. All right, this is Lonnie on Lonnie Show for the Moorish American Institute, here with some fencers who fence and practice by a particular tradition in a very different way than what we're seeing in Ohio. I didn't know what kind of thing we were getting into when we contacted you, but when you started talking about it, Chris, I was very excited. So I'd like to ask you, well, first let's tell us who you are.
Yeah, so Christopher Antunes Ramos just turned 31. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
Yeah.
Feliz cumpleaños!
Yeah, felicidad. Yeah, I work at the airport, just regular Joe Schmo. 2014, I knew about this sort of fencing going on, but I didn't know it was in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, it's worldwide. Particularly what we do is Hema, so it's Historical European Martial Arts.
Hema?
Yes.
All right.
And we cover particularly Joachim Meyer's treatise, 1570.
Beautiful technique.
Yes.
All right.
He was a German man of the time, 1500s.
Mm-hmm.
Born to a middle-class family. Everybody was in the cutlery. And from what we understand, he grew up to be a cutler, went out and did his little trek to learn more, came back, started hosting fencing tournaments. I guess one thing led to another, and he finally had his book. Unfortunately, in his travels, and presumably to be selling his book and spreading the art, he passed away. These are just names of things. They're names of like positions of where your body's gonna end up.
Yes.
So like if you're gonna cut, if you're gonna start from up here, you're in Vomtag.
Vomtag?
Yeah, Vomtag, like or of the day or guard of the day.
All right.
Some of it's poetic and cryptic on purpose. That's an older tradition than Meyer.
And then this one is the most bendy of them all. Right, this one goes all the way. But these are the broadswords that they were using back in the day. People who were cutlers, people who were butchers, people who were, they made jewelry, things like that.
That end of the sword is very, very dangerous because the blades are heat treated to be flexible and safe in the thrust, and there's material. You see some of them have a different shape than others. They check out this one. See how it's got a lot more flex to it?
Yeah.
And you see how instead of it being like a straight blade shape, it's got a lot.
13th century and up. And then this one is what they use more in around the 16th century.
Yeah.
For the type of, it's all the same art. Just they found more utility in having a more flexible blade.
Yeah, because there's techniques that you can make the blade flop past someone's guard and cut their head. That's the one he uses.
This is my own personal blade. This one I got as a gift when I first started, and then I don't know where it's on this one.
Further towards the hand.
Further probably on the shelf. So right here.
There you go.
That's a regular destreza trainer. That's a Spanish form of fencing, but it works for Meyer as well because
that's a Toledo sword, right?
Yeah, like we
well, with the gloves sometimes it happens. You're in the heat of the moment, and you're just like, okay, if you don't have anything to move here, think and just hit the guy. That's it. Yeah. Move on. Do something.
I'm always down. You tell me, hey, it's Sunday. It's hot. Let's fight. Yes, I'm there. I'm ready. It's really fun. It's exciting. It's a good way to, a person can learn a lot by getting punched in the face.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So
A lot of people don't understand that, but it builds character. It lets you know that you can take the punch. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
And you'll be all right.
And you find out, what do you do in this situation? Do you
Right.
react or do you run? And
Right.
then,
Who are you?
Yeah. And then you make that decision like, okay, I'm this kind of person. Am I okay with that?
Yeah.
No. Get your ass to work.
So this has taught you life lessons.
Yeah. A lot of life lessons.
One technique Victor taught us from the German tradition is called the OODA loop.
It's called the OODA loop. So
OODA loop.
the OODA. Yeah, you look it up. It's like this constant repetition of like, okay, I want to do this technique and I need to move my foot here and I need to go there, and then your opponent's doing the same thing. So what you want to do is like
Trip it.
Yeah. Trip that, just cut that and cut into him. Forget your loop and go into him. So you fight in the moment. You fight as like you and the sword are one.
So it's a constant motion technique I had never heard of in a martial art. I learned from Victor, from the Meyer Frayfechter Fencing Guild. they do have in their manual that they shared with us from 1570s techniques called the berserker, which is where a warrior gets out there in the field and just starts swinging. And it's whatever he gets. There's no dancing, there's no dueling. He's swinging. Most likely until he kills everything in his area or until he dies, until he's killed. Man.
Okay. So there'll be that one technique, like we'll come into a bind, and if I wanted to, I come up.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, nice.
That was sweet.
And I got you locked out, and I just bring you over my hip.
And you got, you can tell,
Yeah.
you got the blade too. It's probably
Yeah,
disarming
yeah,
by the time
yeah.
it hit the ground.
Where you come up, and you do this, and I'm pushing down at the same time, just because that's how a lever works.
Pushing down.
The blade goes right into your head. Same principle where we come into a bind, and we come in, right?
Right.
The first one was I would go under.
Right.
Second one is go over, same principle. Or
This is kung fu, man.
there's one where it's here, and I pommel.
Okay.
There's one where this one's harder to do because you're also pushing in at the same time. But we learn one where we come up, and I get you like that.
Just to throw him over the hip
Yeah,
real quick.
but the thing is, it's harder to do it when you're blocking and you go over, because I'm fighting you back.
Right.
So if I go over, oh crap,
You can catch the
yeah.
blade too.
So it's better to go under. So we'll clasp, and if I push up into that guard, then I got you here.
Okay.
Or I'll get you here, and that's even stronger because it just lets me use my hip. And I pull you over.
Okay.
And one of the criteria is you're on the floor, you lose.
Yeah.
So I just have to pull you and come down on a knee, and you're on the floor, and that's it.
Okay.
So this will go right into the armpit socket or the neck where the helmet and the breastplate, there's a little gap.
Like a plate.
Or if it's thin enough, there's a little slit for the eyes going through there.
Mm.
And this was just like down and dirty, that's it. Like, yeah, there's no coming back from that. One of the best ways to win a knife fight is to just run away from the guy. Don't get involved in it.
Right.
And that's it, you won. Like, it's not...
You're alive.
that,
Here, there's a lot of going around, breaking the center line, more wartime techniques than they have in current day fencing. They have things like long point and swordfish, and I think long point got canceled. There's also things like wintering, and then there's also people like us who we hold something every 3 months, and all we do is just fight with longsword all day.
One thing I liked about the Meyer Frayfechter fencers and their culture of socializing is that they invite everybody.
We get all types of people to come do your thing, fly your free flag high, it doesn't matter.
yeah.
You're practicing with live weapons. This is steel. People can get hurt. People can get injured.
You don't have people trying to hurt other people. That's what it is.
When somebody comes new off the streets, how do you gauge their temperament?
That's a good question.
And we get everybody from whoa, cool, Game of Thrones, to like, oh hey, yeah, it's everybody. We get like the antisocial guy who just is like, oh, I like swords, I want to do something. I don't even know how to talk to people, but like I want to figure something out. To the guy who's like, I'm a 16th century reenactor, and I would like to learn more of the art. I've gotten emails like that, and like, okay, the guy comes and he's like, yeah.
Then
Right,
he gets hit in the head.
and then he's like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I told you, this is a martial art. Our master, Joachim Meyer, died at 32. Massive depth, to the point where his wife had to carry it on, and the man that he instructed married his wife. One of the people that he instructed, one of his friends, married his wife, carried on his dead, and she kept going on and on and on. Like, to have that kind of like respect and following for an art is definitely meant to pursue in the same manner.
It's all intrinsic in its nature. Like, remember, this is starting with the Renaissance, and at least in our case, like the Renaissance is starting to roll in. And even if you look before that, knights were a thing. So Hema just draws in people that are attracted to that. It's
Back in the day, it was wake up, drink, fence, and go to church.
He's not kidding.
And
that was
maybe in that order, maybe not in that order. I don't think it mattered, but
Yeah.
it depends on where you are. It
Yeah.
depends on where you are. But it was a thing to do. So this still carries on that same mentality. You know, you come here, you train hard, at least the way that we do it.
You know, it pains me to see it when people come in like, hey, we're gonna go at it, yeah, whatever, and they just start swinging for the fences. Like, no, you're doing this wrong, because at the end of the day, you guys are supposed to go meet at a bar later.
Right.
We're open to bringing other masters in and like learning fencing. We just want to fence.
Yeah.
This is a self-serving group. We don't actually care about making good fencers. Like we don't. I'm not trying to improve anybody in society. Like it's a side effect. I just want more people to
This is
fight.
your life.
It's
Yeah.
a hobby. It's
Yeah,
we're
like
doing
I
it
just
for-
want
it's
more
for
people to
fun.
fight. You
It's a
know.
big part of you.
Yeah,
it's-
it gets really amusing, but we try and keep the whole thing alive. And at the end of the day, we all go eat somewhere. It's a huge party.
What's the ticket on an outfit like that? What are these pants called?
Pluderhosen.
Pluderhosen. What?
And basically,
I don't have on Pluderhosen
look
pants.
like
Mine are
jester
pretty cool though.
pants.
yeah, I mean, court gestures, a lot of people back in society wore these. It wasn't like, hey, that one guy gets to wear Pluderhosen. No.
Right.
At some point, a lot of nations rock these.
Yeah.
Different heights, different lengths, different. There's some that this is like a 10 stripe, for example.
Mm-hmm.
There's some that it's like 2 or 3, and it's just fewer black and more color.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are actual slashed and have a layer beneath, so it's not directly to bare skin,
Uh-huh.
and it's more like ribbons.
Yes.
So it gets crazy. There's a lot of variety in the style of it. You see it prominently in Spanish and German nations.
Mm-hmm.
Again, depending on the person. Not everybody had them, but if they did, they would rock different colors. And there's actually a group called the Landsknecht. They were Swiss mercenaries, Swiss, German mercenaries around Bavaria, all that little belt, basically. And they wore this. And I don't know how much of it's true, but supposedly there was a king that basically said, you guys come and fight, dress however. And what shows up is a train of people. The rainbow came out, and they all had axes and weapons all ready to go. And it was kind of like a self-expression. Like, I'm going to go out there, I'm probably going to get stabbed like 5 times by the same guy. I might as well go out in fashion. So that it's kind of that thing, like, I just go out with a bang, really. Like, what else causes people to go dressed out in vibrantly colored poofy pants? They could have just wore regular linen pants of the day, or like in medieval times, like, they didn't have to get the poofiness, but it's just, you know, you're balling out.
Yeah.
So
One thing you notice about this style of fencing as opposed to the competition Olympic style fencing is they do not move in just a straight line. Sweet! They move around.
yeah.
His fingers are gone.
Yeah.
Good charge. He finished it.
Yeah. No. Whoa. It's a long time. You! Nice.
Either you play as the artful fencer where you wait in a guard, and you either seem like you're a fool when you don't know what you're doing, or you're like the most venomous snake in the world. You know, just waiting and lying, just ready to strike.
Yeah.
But there's all sorts of manners to fight however you want. Just like how in boxing you have technical fighters and fighters, and you have people who have a mix in between southpaw fighters. You have the same thing here, you know. You have people who like to fence on the outside because you have different circles. Right now where they're fighting is called the Zufechten, which is where it just takes one step to reach your opponent with a cut. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, come on over here so I don't have to come to you.
Yeah. And there's even sticks for that, you know, like you throw out a cut, you basically you cast a line to see a response, and then you act towards that. Get caught here, and like we mentioned earlier, we get to the prong guard, and we control the sword to either move it down that way to control him, or grab here
combination of moves. Or shtuk are the same thing. You have what we were doing. You know, we meet in the middle, do one thing here, connect. That's a combination of moves. So we have one that I like to do, which is how I did most of my things, where you meet up top, fake to the bottom, hit top, hit right, and then leave. So
Hit right, leave, step out.
hit right, hit left. Right.
And step out, you mean?
And then step out and cut.
All right.
Trap them in the wrist.
Nice.
And if you have them there, furthermore, you can grab them, disarm them, and then in the book, some of them just yeah, you just bring them through, and that's
He
it.
stands straight up like this.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to move.
The same thing with dagger. It's all the same thing. It's a circle, right? So if he attacks, just clear it, right? But the same thing. If he attacks, just come in from the side. If you have the same thing, he comes in, he attacks, you stop it, and then or like that. The same thing. Any attack, you just come in, you block it to the side. The thing about knife fighting is it doesn't matter how good you are, you're always gonna get cut.
Yeah.
There's no clean knife fights anywhere.
Yeah.
There's 20-foot pikes. There are 20-foot pikes that literally you sit there and they have a whole art where they like lift it up like it's some sort of wushu, like combat thing.
Oh,
And it's 20 feet of stick
yeah.
fighting, keeping off people.
Yeah, like this, it's a 16 to 20 foot wooden pole, and you know, from here to the freaking tree, and you raise it and you treat it like it's a quarterstaff even.
Yeah.
It being a pike, there's a spearhead at the end, and it's very, very flimsy. But there's things where like you can spin it to confuse them where the head's gonna be, and then quickly just do that.
Yeah.
And this doesn't look like much, but on the receiving end of that pike, you're basically getting hit by like a freaking cannonball. Like it's a lot of force behind that 20-foot pole,
Yeah.
and it's all concentrated on little.
Like this, and it creates this triangle, and then you push it down. It switches the spots. You push forward, it falls down, and immediately it hits like that. So it kind of just goes, boom. The whole thing. So martial arts as a whole has just evolved and changed into the same thing. And you see people in katana like that.
Yeah.
Then like this, right?
Yep.
And then you see them like this, or like this, or like this, or like this. These are four main postures: montag, ox, flug, auber. So from the high guard to the ox to the plow to the full switch, full ox, high guard, encompassing a whole shield wall that you have with like all these four guards. But from there you go and you end up in like unicorn, vexel, like the one that we showed you in the beginning, shrine cut up here, ice and port, long port,
Long port, are you saying?
yeah, long point.
Long point.
Long
All
point.
right.
I don't know why I said port. Long point. Then you have oh man, the wrath guard.
Yeah.
Zorn hut. Yeah, Zorn hut, which is basically where you end up in.
After a while, you saw how they fought and that their armor was pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
And that they were decent fellas and they weren't trying to kill each other or didn't
Right.
seem to have no intent on trying to kill us, even though, you know, they are who they are and we are who we are. You had a good session sparring.
I did. It was fun.
Yeah, with one of their
It was
instructors.
fun. I learned a technique from him too.
Yeah, there's that's how they protect the blade from hurting you too much, and they still give it that blade shape so that. Do you want to feel the full one?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not that bad. Like it's gonna hurt. You have a little line there, but
yeah, I ain't shit though.
it's not bad.
It's alright.
You know, it's a thing. I promise I'll let you get me back.
When y'all sparred, the first thing you did is something very basic.
Yeah.
You just lunged.
Lunged.
Now,
Straight
the Meyer Frayfechter fencers have awesome techniques. They have very effective, practical fighting techniques down to we're so close, our weapons aren't good anymore, I'm going to punch you in the face. In case you didn't catch that part already. They practice punching each other in the face.
Right. Literally.
However, like anything, your basics are always most important in a skill. You can practice all day long with advanced techniques, But often those advanced techniques are defeated by somebody who knows the basics very well. And so Joshua lunged and stabbed a man in his heart.
Yeah, that's one of the first techniques you ever taught me, sword fighting. Like I think it was.
It's the basic.
Yeah.
It's everything in fencing.
In the driveway, I remember starting it. I hated it.
Yeah.
I did not like lunging.
Yeah, because it hurt.
Oh man, it hurt.
Yeah.
Man. Oh, and
But
it hurt
now
the
it's like, look
shoulder,
what I
everything.
did.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, look what I can do.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a technique. That was sweet.
But in the 13th century, the way that you learned was through cryptic poems, like one of the ways that you did. So one of the guys that this art stems from, Johannes Lichtenauer, he had a poem called The Zettel, where he talked to a budding fencer, whoever it may be, of how to strike high from the sun and how to be fearless and how to, like, basically he described the fight through a very cryptic poem that nobody understood. He was using just terminology that anybody that didn't know what fencing was about or how to fight, they would be like, oh yeah, this is nice. You know, and then you get some guy who's like, I see what you're saying, and then he would go out and do it in the field, and that's how, you know, information was passed.
Do you have any of these poems?
They're online. You go to wichtenauer.com, or you go there and he'll show you the poem in German and translated for today's purpose. Prospective students may be better trained to skill in this and then in combat with the rapier. So this is talking about the rapier, and then he goes on to say, with this weapon, extend far and long, hang over forward after the cut. So it's a more direct poem, and it's less cryptic because during his time he was actually holding tournaments.
Totally awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
It's a thing, yeah.
Appreciate y'all. Thanks, man. Appreciate y'all. What's his name? Mark. Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Well, here's one of the poems, but it's not from Lichtenauer.
Oh, wow. The Guild of Meyer Frayfechter. We've had a good time here with these men, and we're looking forward to coming back Sunday and learning some more. Thanks, fellas. Salute. You don't want to beat up your friends too bad or people you're fencing with, because you got to go drink with these people.
Right.
It's the Lonnie Show. Check it out. Tastes good. Tastes real good. It's the Lonnie Show. Check it out.